I want to pivot to the border quickly because and I want to ask you why this guy even admitted to this, but there was a Lebanese guy. Here it is. A Lebanese guy passed in El Paso, an admitted Hezbollah terrorist, said he wanted to go to New York and make a bomb. 22-year-old guy. So how did they get that out of him? Because this is now the 60th person on the terror watch list in the last 4 months that we've captured at the border. 270 more the 2 years prior to that. So there's been hundreds of known terrorists coming across the border. Why would this cat even admit to such a thing?
I know. I love the idea of the conversation, right, where they say, "So, Mr. Abadi, what brings you to America?" He goes, "I'm here to build a bomb." Oh, geez, I shouldn't have said that. Maybe he's got Tourette's. Who knows? He just shouts things out. We laugh, and I do laugh about it because it's bizarre. And normally, you don't identify somebody quite that easily because they don't admit to it. But you've pointed out the most disconcerting part, which is, look, these numbers about how many known gotaways, right? The millions that they're estimating that have come across the border without encountering law enforcement. They think that could be 2+ million in the past 2.5 years or so. They're guessing. But what that means is you've got millions who we don't even know about. And we're not even really vetting the encounters, right? The known encounters, the people that we actually encounter at the border. There's not a lot of vetting going on with them either. So this Lebanese fellow you talked about, he was questioned a couple days after being picked up, I believe, by medical staff who were just doing some medical screening. And they literally, I suspect, said, "So what brings you to the country?" I don't think they were trained in interrogation. So this guy just, came up with this. He said he'd been, working with Hezbollah. He'd been, trained by Hezbollah. He'd been trained in, to follow jihad and to kill non-Muslims. And that he'd been, responsible for guarding some weapons, cache in Lebanon for Hezbollah for some period of time before making his way circuitously through several countries to eventually get to the U.S. using fake papers and false identity. And then he just comes up with this, "I'm here to build a bomb and I'm with Hezbollah." Who knows? Maybe the guy's completely psychotic and he just thought this might be the best way to, get some hot meals and a place to put his head. I don't know.
This guy may be a total clown, but the others who we know of, and then as you mentioned, the ones that we don't even know of, they may be a little more clever getting around it all. Why else would someone who's already on the terror watch list want to come to America? It's almost certain that there would be an attack, unless these people just fall in love with America in the meantime or whatever, but I doubt it, right? So that's a certainty, isn't it, eventually?
Eventually it is, yeah, and that's the problem. Look, you can't, I've been saying this, and I'm sure people are tired of hearing me say it, but you can't, if you're the federal government, your primary responsibility is the security of your citizens. Right? Whether it's public security in the city streets or whether it's national security and keeping terrorists out of the country, that's your job. And you can't do that if you don't have a secure border and you know who's coming across. And so when we talk about the lack of vetting that goes on with those people who are actually encountered, but then released, flown out to wherever, and let's not forget that the Biden administration itself admitted that they've flown hundreds of thousands of people into the United States at night in an effort to essentially to reduce the numbers of border crossings. So they're just flying them in under the cover of night into various cities, and they won't disclose what cities. So setting that aside, you've got this issue of if you can't identify who's coming across, and you know that, say, last year you definitely had 169 individuals that you came across who are on the watch list, the terror watch list, then you'd have to be a complete moron to imagine that all the millions that have come across who never encountered law enforcement, not a single one of them are on the terror watch list or have some bad intent by coming here. And that means that the federal government is failing in its primary job.